We are now just a little bit over the first month since release of Exfilzone, a mode within Contractors Showdown that is an extraction shooter mostly identical to Escape from Tarkov, but in VR. In just a little over a month, we've had multiple updates over the weeks tweaking things that were absolutely necessary, like adding a new area to the farm and suburbs, the ability to unload a mag as fast as you can pack it, many new guns, and much more. I've spent a good amount of time playing Exfilzone, and while I don't consider myself a pro by any means, I can definitely tell you that I have survived many encounters, and rarely ever have I ran into a situation where I felt like I was taken out in any sort of unfair way. I have a lot of experience with extraction shooters on PC, games like Escape from Tarkov, Hunt Showdown, The Cycle Frontier, Marauders, Delta Force, Vigor. The list could go on. And trust me, I don't consider myself amazing at those games either. I've played a lot of competitive shooters, and I've always been very good at assessing situations, learning from my mistakes, and executing better next time. Full loot on death PvP games and MMOs have always been kind of a major attraction to me. So for me, I'm very much used to losing what I have and starting over. Sometimes even from absolutely nothing. Many other channels have went over their version of a tips and tricks video, and I tried to create the most extensive list of useful things to share with my viewers. I'm happy to be able to finally share it. I'm Dad Tired, and I'm here to guide you to your survival with 20 tips in Contractors Showdown Exfilzone. Number 1, we've all been there. You're trying to grab something, you just can't quite get it. Or sometimes you grab something else, like your backpack or water, instead of something like your vest or your helmet, or an attachment that just won't come off. I've seen many videos and streams of Exfilzone players, and I see people always struggle with this without them actually saying anything, and especially when they're trying to do it fast. This one's quick, and if you haven't figured out the easy way to do this yet, it is quite easy. When you want to remove an attachment or a piece off of your vest, make sure your hand is not going to be pointing at anything. Hold down the trigger first, and then move your hand towards the piece. Once over it, now hold grip along with it and it'll pop right off just like that. It's that simple. Too many people try to press the buttons at the same time and always make the same mistake. Number 2, cover and callouts. Get the hell out of the open. You may think you're in cover, but the way the draw distance works, at a great distance, you're just standing there as a free target. Plan your route quickly. Move from cover to cover, perhaps wait a little bit to overlook the area or your next destination before pressing on. Listen. People's footsteps are very loud, and if you stay perfectly still, it's easy for your eyes to catch movement in the distance. This is the cause of why a lot of people are getting popped by a group of scavs, because they're not paying enough attention. If you're roaming with a squad, choose who has point. Split the directional roles. If you have a full squad, one can watch the front and be a point man, the first one to move. And then the other two can follow in a staggered formation while watching each direction. Callouts like contact left, contact right, front, rear, these are all incredibly useful. They should always be called out in relation to the direction your group is moving. Calling your bearings out can work just fine, but it'll cause your eyes to leave center focus when you're looking up at the sky at your compass. Your callouts are crucial to your group's survival. Yes, I've played a lot of milsim shooters, so the good habits still apply. Number 3, utilize training mode. You can only go into this solo, but it'll absolutely help you with learning scav patrol patterns and spawns. They're always in the same places every raid. Once you learn how the scavs behave, you can also focus on practicing your routes and getting comfortable with them. For example, I know whenever I spawn near the farm, I'm going to usually hit Hider Town first, and sweep around the north side of the mall towards the extraction points. Depending on what noise I hear is how I determine what direction I'm going to be going. Training mode is also your PvE mode. You gain no loot or experience, but you lose absolutely nothing if you die. This mode also helps you get used to POIs and their ins and outs. If it weren't for training mode, I would have been more reluctant to just walk inside the mall without knowing the rooms and where loot can spawn. Training mode is a gift. Harness its power. Number 4, get over your gear fear. I say this ad nauseum, and I've mentioned it in another video. Any loot you hoard and never use is already lost. If you keep loading into raids with subpar equipment, you're going to get subpar results. Everything can always be replaced, and the challenge itself is well worth the reward when you overcome the odds that you thought were against you. Going in with gear that you're afraid to lose will also cause you to play way too cautiously, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed when you aren't comfortable. Collect a gun that you really like. Mod them all in the same fashion if you want. Take them out and get used to them. You will thank yourself when you become the Chad. Number 5, sell what you hoard. Unless I really like a weapon, I usually try not to carry too much of something. This will also help you overall fund for the things that you need to buy often, like weapon attachments and ammunition. You have 50 grenades in a bag, keep 2 or 3 of each and sell off the rest. Same when it comes to weapons and gear from scav raids. Most of the stuff you get from a scav raid is going to be garbage. Other players will penetrate those armors very easily. Just sell them and get the stuff that you like. Number 6, use your mica with everything, especially after a raid. There was a time when I was fresh that I took a very large syringe with me on a raid, not realizing that it was about to be empty, because I never checked it with my mica. The mica tool will tell you the strength of gears and ammunition, which is very important to your survival, and the amount of damage you do. If you have meds that are less than half effective, sell them and get the stuff that you need. Number 7, optics, optics, optics. If your weapon can't attach one, sell it and find one that does. Target acquisition is everything in a firefight, and quickly aiming down your irons in VR is not as easy with muscle memory as it may be in real life with good training. Save all of your optics from your scav raids if you can. Use them on the weapons that you like. Click on more heads. This is one of the reasons why I absolutely can't stand the M3 grease gun. Aiming with that thing is abysmal, and anybody who likes it at range is more than 5 yards away is a monster. Number 8. When you upgrade your storage and generator, you can use the ammo loader. The ammo loader pulls ammo from your ammo boxes that you store on this table. You can also have multiple boxes of the same ammo type and store them above, or anywhere else in your hideout. I like to keep different types in each box. This is a small tip, but it can help your inventory management in the long run. Number 9. Use gunfire and other noise to mask your own footsteps. Very often I have gotten a drop on full squads while they were shooting at bosses or other scavs. Because they're clomping around and shooting so much, they never heard me coming. It's something that can be hard to master, but it pays off when you can play stealthy and get the kills you want. As a scav, this is even easier, as you can get some refrags off of the dead scavs. Again, as I've said this in my last Exfilzone video, scavs are very easy to game. When they spot you and get a lock on you, they will usually always push you and you can wait for them to come to you. They still have a second before actually shooting at you when they find you. Use this to your advantage. Also, stop reloading right after you kill something. You'll never know if there's going to be a little rat around the corner like me that's waiting to catch you with your pants down. Number 10. Always rack and check your weapons before you raid, especially when loading in as a scav. If you spawn with the FAL or the AR-15 Hunter, you usually have to rack unless that's changed. The game still being an alpha can cause you to lose a bullet every once in a while by showing you nothing in the chamber, even if a bullet was definitely chambered. However, better to be safe than sorry. Always have one in the pipe. Number 11. This one is a little personal for me, but when you are new, save the little mini M4s as they're highly moddable and they're light but pack hell of a punch in close quarters. They're awesome weapons when you have an optic and a foregrip on them. It is probably my most successful weapon that I've used. Number 12. Pick your battles. Learn to avoid engagement, especially at range. Sometimes you can find yourself successfully hiding in plain sight as full squads run right past you. It's true that sometimes you can't avoid confrontation at all and you have no choice but to fight. Better to try and deny someone's loot if you know you're going to be denied yours anyway, which then leads me to Number 13. Practice being aggressive. Metro is perfect for this. When you spawn, you're going to be immediately hearing footsteps above or below you nearby. Pushing a player into bad positions will only help your confidence with engagements overall. Outside of Metro, another way to practice this is on scav raids. For me, at least at this point, I don't have much that I need as a scav, so when I hear gunfire, I know that there's a contractor with guns and loot in that direction. I will rush to that point and try to engage. It's a 50-50 shot of you respawning with what you went in with, or go home with a ton of loot, sometimes collected just for you. Golly, that was nice of them. Number 14. Naked runs. Don't feel shame in doing them, and sometimes they can be fun and challenging, but don't be surprised if you get laid out in the first 10 seconds. Most players don't want to give you the option to loot up so you can come and find them and take their loot. So like I said before, pick your battles, move with the noise, and try to rat around, and perhaps you too can be a successful naked runner. Number 15. Trust at your own risk. This one always gets me in trouble, but again I say, scav mode is not friend mode. Do not trust players and then get mad if they betray you. The game is already very easy when you remove the threat of another player. So what if they shoot a scav and now all the scavs have marked them? They're still not hard to kill, and any confident player would also agree. I don't mind scavs waving to me most of the time. I'll do it back and move on. But full honesty, if I had a bigger bag than you, I would probably expect you to take the shot and take me out. I'm not afraid of taking 20 scavs out on the way to Exfil, so
go ahead. Make my day.
Number 16. Get good at solo first. This is also a personal preference. Obviously, people will want to play with friends as soon as possible, and there's nothing wrong with that. But playing in squads can also give a false sense of security in the presence of a good solo player. Learning the game and the maps in solo can also be a huge advantage that you can bring to your team in the long run. Because remember, grenades are very, very deadly. Very often do you see 3 people all huddled up with each other. Perfect grenade bait. Number 17. Always rotate and never stay in one position at a time when in a firefight. That is how peeking ends up getting you killed. This is like FPS Shooter 101 honestly, but people seem to always just sit in one place and hold the angle. But then they complain that they put so many shots in a player and didn't understand how they didn't die. Use cover to your advantage and use it to also push the enemy when necessary. And when that would be would come with practice. Number 18. If you aren't worried about the extra cheap gear and want some extra money per day when starting out, purchasing the starter kit once a day can net you tens of thousands of currency. You'll spend less than 10k and end up with much more in return when you sell everything to its correct vendor. Grab one of the bags, throw it all in there. I like to save the apples personally, but everything else to the orange bin with you. Give me my monies. Number 19. Use every single death as a learning lesson. Did you die? How was your patience? How was your positioning? There are many examples I can use, but this one is the best one I have right now. I knew that the damn canals, there was a 2-man squad roaming around killing the scavs near me in the military tents. I'm sure they saw me at one point because they were lobbing a lot of grenades and shooting in my direction. I stayed hidden for a little bit. They were geared and I only had a tier 3 chest piece on. After some time, I moved on. I figured that they went to extraction, or maybe they thought that I bugged off in the opposite direction. I went over to peek again, and when I did, I heard someone directly below me off of this cliff. I used a grenade, and I actually took one of them out. Score. Where I completely messed up here though, is where I should have waited a little longer for his buddy to appear. He did what I should have done here. Stayed hidden until the moment arises. I was impatient. I never saw him behind this tree down here because I was looking at the body and the loot on the ground. Sucks to know too, because that guy who killed me was probably hurt really bad from the grenade. Not only that, but I didn't rack around in this weapon that I always make fun of myself for when it kills me. From this engagement and the death, I learned many things. One of them is patience. I didn't confirm that I got 2 kills. I was only able to confirm 1. I wasn't sure if the grenade took both of them out and maybe the body went flying, but I still had about 10 minutes left in this raid, and I was only about 2 minutes from the extract. I could have gotten the drop on the second guy when he went to get his buddy's loot. The other lesson here was positioning, where next time I'm going to be more mindful of any movement behind these trees, and ignore the loot until I know that the area is definitely clear. Patience, positioning. Check your PP. And last but not least, number 20. Probably the most important tip or trick I could ever give. Number 20 is your tip. Post it below. The most important tips that we have are the ones that we can share amongst each other and help each other get good at this game. Post them and maybe I can go over a bunch of them in the future. I also just opened up the Discord server, Dad's Man Cave. It's going to be very small for a while considering that I'm a small YouTuber with less than 300 subscribers, but I really enjoy talking and connecting with a lot of you. Playing the recommended games that you guys have given me and making content for it is actually something that I've been having a lot of fun doing. Live streams will be more often and will continue for VR and non-VR titles, so I hope to see you there. If you made it this far, consider leaving me the appropriate thumb and subscribing. All of my links are in the description. Hopefully these tips can help you, and I look forward to bringing you more Contractors content in the future. Have a wonderful day, friendos. See you in the next video.